I think you need three things essentially to be a great journalist. You need to be curious. If you're not, forget it. You need to be confident, because if you don't believe your version of the story, nobody else will. And you need credibility, or other people will not believe you.
My top tips really for being a great journalist, I think, comes down to one phrase, and that's turning up. You've got to get out there, meet the people, get the contacts, turn up at the planning meetings at 1 o'clock in the morning, and that will stand you in great stead.
My top tips for getting into journalism are persistence, curiosity and networking. Just keep being persistent, and the more persistent you are, the more likely you are to get the job. And it's the same skill that you use when you try and get a story. You have to just have that innate curiosity to try and know more about what has happened. Because networking means that you have a plethora of people at your fingertips, because the more people you know, the more likely you are to get the story, and of course, the more likely you are to get a job.
Never give up. Don't give up at the first hurdle, don't give up at the 15th hurdle, don't give up at the 715th hurdle. Persistence will get you everything you want, even if it takes years.
Work as hard as you possibly can, be prepared to move anywhere, and most importantly, always have your law textbook on your desk for reference.
Pick your passion. If you like TV, if you want to get into broadcasting, watch all your favourite reporters, your presenters, get to know them so well. It will really help you out for your interviews. It will really help you when you one-on-one in an interview. There, people will ask you what's your favourite thing, and you won't be caught out.
Get as much experience as you can across as wide a variety of platforms as you can. It will help you and help you build contacts.
So my top tips for becoming a journalist would be to learn how to do video and pay attention to what's happening on social media. The way we consume content is changing every day, and you want to be able to have the skills to film and edit and create that content to set you apart from other journalists. Don't be afraid in making yourself too specialist. If you're LGBT, if you're a person of colour, if you're a Muslim, if you're Jewish, you actually have access to a whole other audience that newsroom often don't know much about.
Pursue your passion, but don't be afraid to get there by roundabout ways. The dream job you always wanted might not be the first one that's available to you. It might not even exist yet because it hasn't been invented yet. You might be the first one trying it. So you may have to start somewhere slightly different and figure out your own path to the career that you want.
Whilst it's a really competitive industry, it's actually not that difficult to stand out. When I've been hiring for jobs, you find that 99% of people won't go that extra 1%. So just finding that little one thing that makes you stand out when you're applying for a job really will make a really big difference.
Don't give up, keep trying, keep writing stories. Don't take rejection for an answer. You've got to be single-minded and you've got to keep going.
My top tip for being successful in journalism might seem like an obvious suggestion, but the most important thing you can do every morning is to read the news, whether you're getting it from online, from the television, or from the newspapers. Whatever you're working on that day, having an awareness of the zeitgeist and things that people are talking about that day will be so useful, whatever you're reporting on.